when I was on my cruise, they were doing something for the first time, and I got to be, my family and the group of people that were there with me got to be the first guinea pigs of this cruise line trying to do music bingo. And
oh no! Wait!
Like,
Does everybody know that you're a pro at that?
No, and that was the thing. So I didn't want to be that guy. The girl hosting music bingo was doing it for the first time, and it was so painful to watch because it reminded me of when I first started doing it, like just the little things you learn as you do. And so, long story short, she hands out the cards. She's playing the game. Her execution is just rough. It's all over the place. But here's where it gets really hard. And it's just hard to watch. It was a train wreck, and I saw it coming because Sherry was with me. She was playing with me. She was one song away from winning. And the host of Music Bingo says, who needs one song left to win? And like 9 people raised their hand, including Sherry. And she did something that I don't do. I never ask people, what song are you waiting on to win? Because if they all say the same song, you're about to have a tornado crap come down the pipe, right? So sure enough, they all say, Don't Stop Believing. And all of a sudden, that was literally the next song she plays, and 9 people win at the same time.
Okay, so if they all had the same song to wait on, is it because she had played like most of the way through? Like, how many songs had played up to that point? Were we basically at the bottom of the barrel at that point?
No, it wasn't even that. I think the thing that generated the cards generated several of the same exact cards. So I don't want to be that guy, but it was so hard to watch. And I just walked out, and my family the whole time was just like, so what do you think? And I was thinking to myself, I don't want to say anything because I'm on vacation.
Right. I don't want to work. What are you doing?
Right. So last week I was on vacation with the family. We went on a cruise to the Bahamas, and it was a lot of fun. And there's lots to talk about on this cruise. Of course, one thing was the highlight of the entire cruise, and that was, Sherry and I are engaged now. Do you remember the one thing it wasn't the proposal I was nervous about the most. Do you remember the one thing I was the most nervous about this whole thing? Do you remember what I told you was the thing I was scared about the most?
Your biggest concern was security check is going to run that x-ray machine and be like, sir, you need to open up the bundled socks here and then pull the ring out and show it to everybody. And I'm like, I don't think they're going to do that.
That was my biggest fear. So here's how I got around that. A couple days before, I had to sit down with Chris, my son, and I was like, listen, we're going to have to go black ops on this thing. Here's the plan. When we get to security, I'm going to have Sherry go through the line first. You're going to go through the line second. And if I'm going to go through third, and if you see them doing anything that looks like they're going to open up my carry-on bag, I need you to get her attention away from security and look over there kind of thing, and keep her eyes away from the screen that's x-raying or they're pulling my stuff out. Just keep her away from whatever's happening over here so I can hopefully get this taken care of as quickly and as quietly as possible. So
I know you're under 40, but I need you to fake a heart attack. Right. And I need you to commit to it. Just commit.
So we get up. It's so funny. It was like we were robbing a bank. We get there. We're now like 6-7 people away from going through security. And he turns to me and looks at me and says, Dad, we ready to do this? And I was like, yeah.
Lock and load.
I was like, my man. Yeah. That's my boy. I was like, I just had a very proud father moment at that moment, right? So I gave him a nod like we're doing this, right? So she goes through, he goes through. And I had one other thing to put through the scanner first. Now, they went through and they were a good maybe 5-6 feet ahead of me where they couldn't hear what I was saying to the TSA agent. And as I'm putting my carry-on bag, it was like a utility bag kind of thing. I put it on the counter, I put it on the conveyor belt, and I say, listen, I don't know if this will set off the alarm or not. I have an engagement ring in there. if you guys have to open it up, can you please be careful? And she looks at me and goes, don't worry, it won't go off. So I send it through, no problem, nothing happened. I was like,
booyah.
Booyah. So when I got through security check and everything else, I put my utility back on. Chris gives me the look and I give him the look and I said, mission accomplished. And he's like, all right. And we carried on.
Dad, you can stop hyperventilating now. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It was Monday when I did it because on Tuesday we were going to catch up with her folks in Orlando. So I was like, oh, I'm going to try to do this before we catch up with her parents. So it's Monday night, and Sunday night, what we had done, we went upstairs and we found this really nice little observation deck that I don't know, because it's in a weird spot. Like, not a lot of people knew it was there. So I thought, perfect. It was beautiful. It was overlooking the water. And I thought, this is the place I'm going to do it. So, but I didn't have the ring on me at that moment. So I was like, I said to her, I said, hey, how about after dinner tomorrow? Because dinner was going to be formal night. I was like, how about after dinner tomorrow night, we go up there and we watch the sunset from the observation deck. He's like, yeah, let's do it. We go upstairs to the observation deck, and it's windy as all get out. Like, it's windy. So much so that at one point, a gust of wind almost blows her dress over her head. And I was like, we can't do this here. This is not going to be good. When I try to put the ring on her finger and her dress blows up over her head and the whole thing will be on video. Can't have that happen. So I had to call an audible.
Wouldn't be a fond memory at all, no.
No, I had to call an audible. So we went back downstairs. We had a few drinks at one of the little bars down there, and then we went back up to our room. And our room had a balcony that overlooked the water. So we went out on our own balcony, and I did it there. And
Gotcha.
It turned out to be great.
Now, so tell how that happened, but real quick, back on land on Monday night. This is all Monday night, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've talked to you, I think, on video real quick while you were at that little bar, and you're giving me like the in code eyes, like, yeah, that thing I was gonna do, we couldn't stay up at the observation deck as long as I would have liked to because it was windy. And I'm like, I hope she's not right there because like I think you had maybe had a couple at that point and you were like, you're telling me in code, but I don't think it was that much coded. But she didn't get that. Like I guess she didn't hear it. But back on land, I talked to you, and then right after that, where I'm covering music bingo for you. So I'm at the bar and I'm talking to the bartender that works Monday night, and she goes, everybody at the bar has been talking that like he's either going to come back married or engaged. And I was like, I can't say anything. So I was like, oh yeah, that would be a twist, huh? And I'm like, he's doing it right now.
Right. So while they're all speculating around the bar, I am literally down on one knee doing it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So if you remember, you had asked me one of the other things we talked about. You were like, I wonder how many people are chit-chatting or wondering if this is going to happen or not. And it turns out an entire establishment is the answer.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it wasn't just you. Apparently as we speculated, I found out some family members on the down low were like, oh, he's going to do it on the cruise. And so, of course, like we met, like you and I privately spoke about, we talked about this, and it was true. Yeah, there were so many people that guessed it was going to happen on the cruise, and they were all like, yeah, called it. So, yeah.
People at the restaurant, people in your family, people you don't even know on the cruise is like, hey, that guy looks like he's going to propose.
Right. So, and what's funny is word got around the boat quickly. I guess we were one of two couples that got engaged.
Oh, come on.
But the other couple did it in the promenade, which is like public area. So they had kind of a public, I wasn't going to do that to Sherry. I wanted that to be a us moment. So no, I didn't do it in a public place for that reason.
You didn't pay for a skywriter to come all the way out to sea.
No.
And
No. I kept it simple. So as all this is going on a cruise, and maybe we'll come back to the cruise thing here in just a bit. Meanwhile, back in Delaware, Ted is holding it down and hosting music bingo for me all throughout the week. These are places that I normally do music bingo. So Ted, you were doing it all week. Let's talk about music bingo. How did it go for you?
Okay, well, I will tell you this much. My first night, I had come down a couple times to practice with you and all that stuff, and I had run one show start to finish. So I was pretty comfortable with the tech end of it. But the one thing that you can't train, you just have to learn it. And it, like you were saying when you were observing the lady on the ship doing for her first time, you're going, I can see this snag coming. You know, it's like things you know. If you know, you know. You know, if you've done it before, you know. I don't have a radio voice like you do. So I think, you know, if anybody wants to go back to earlier shows now, pause and take a look at the first DB and Ted's. I think I've kind of morphed a little bit as we go. You know, you kind of just sort of, it grows. You know, it's not something that you can say, hey, I want you to sound like this, and then I just snap into it. So on Monday, I'm announcing the songs, and I'm like, XYZ. You know, like give me a song title. What's a good, you know, dance beat? Like, Rhythm of the Night, right? So I'm like, Rhythm of the Night, and like, I mean, I sound like I sound like a nerdy kid doing music bingo. That's all I can say. By Thursday, I was like, Rhythm of the Night. You know, a little slide that just sort of develops, and you can't learn that. You can't train it. It just has to happen organically. So
you find your voice when you do, and I think I told you this. You find your voice, you find your comfort zone once you do it on a regular night or just on a regular schedule. And I think you doing it for an entire week really kind of helped you figure that out.
I feel like Mr. Miyagi taught me how to do music bingo, because I was like, what am I supposed to sound like? And you're like, this I cannot teach to you. You must find it on your own. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I have to do this like now.
Was I telling you that as I was trying to catch flies with a chopsticks?
We're done. Beginner luck.
You'll get lucky. But, beginner luck, you.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I won bingo and I wasn't even playing. No.
Now, any major snafus that you thought, oh God, I wish I could take that back?
So listen, I will publicly apologize to anyone from Derby's who I may have offended during my tenure there. I take, it's like a squirrel running through a forest. I take a different path along the tables every time I hand out cards, and there is a little bit of complexity with this. So you make the announcement. The first day I didn't announce, and you can put as much of this into the episode as you want, but here's everything I did wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the list of everything Ted did wrong.
Everything I did wrong this week. Number one. I said, welcome to Derby's, where we play music bingo. I'll be handing out cards for the first round shortly. I'll be coming around with dabbers. Thanks for coming. And I did not say anything like normal bingo, announce the rules, say that there were prizes, nothing, none of that. And the good thing about that particular venue is there's a lot of regulars. So if anybody had any questions, I'm sure they figured it out. So I went ahead and I distributed the cards. The challenge is this. Good evening, how you doing? Would you like to be playing music bingo today? Yes, they get dabbers, they get a card. I do that a lot. You get yeses and nos, and then you do the first round. The second round, you start to go around and you're looking for dabbers and you're handing out cards. You get to a table that doesn't have dabbers on round two. Is it because they said no, or is it because they were seated during round one? And if it's not the first day of the week, that means I've been doing this for a couple days now. If you said no, did you say no today? Or do I remember seeing you yesterday and you said no? Or have I asked you if you want to play bingo 8 times at this point and now you're pissed because you're like, no, I'm not freaking playing bingo. Stop asking me to play bingo. Is this a cult?
You know, here's the thing. I mean, I love when people say to me, they're like, oh, I could do this. And they think it's super easy because they see how smooth things operate with someone who's been doing this for now a couple years. And if they do attempt to do it themselves, it's not as easy as it looks. And also, it's not cheap to put together. Like, I don't want to brag or anything, but there's a lot of money put into doing this. So to do it right. So, I mean, and what we do different than a lot of people is we have the music videos. And for me to play the music videos in any public place, you got to pay for the licensing and all that junk. So if you think you could just walk in there with a Spotify account or a YouTube account and print out a bunch of cards and you're going to do what we do, you're going to be shocked to find out it's not as easy as it looks. So
it's not quite that, no.
I mean, Ted's walking in there with all of my stuff and he's just stepping into my shoes to do it. And even that is pretty hard to do.
Yeah, it's big shoes, man. I have small feet.
Yeah.
But so I won't call out any names. But there was one guy who, like I said, a squirrel through a forest. I'm taking a different path around to each table, and I'm just as ADD as a squirrel. So I get to this one guy's table, and I skipped him, and it's just one table in the middle of the room, and it's not round one. Like I glitched. So
I've done
I
it.
start round one.
I've done it. Listen, I've been doing this for years, and I've done it. If someone gets your attention and you're going off the path that you normally take to hand out cards, now you took a left instead of a right, and you missed 2 tables over here. It happens.
That was it. They would flag me down like, "Hey, how you doing? Can we get 2 cards?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, I was going over here, but I'll respond to that, right?" So I start the round. I do this every time, like, "Hey, we're doing 90s Pop Explosion. If your card does not say 90s Pop Explosion, you know what to do. Come get a hold of me, and I'll correct that. But for now, we're gonna get started in just a minute." And I say that whole announcement, and somebody comes up to my booth and says, "Hey, man, I didn't get any cards." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. No problem." So a couple rounds later, now this guy, I had handed out cards again. I said, "I'm not gonna miss you again, haha." And at the end of the round, it's bingo. And so I look up because I heard bingo from, like, generally speaking, the middle of that area. And I said, "I heard bingo, who is it? Raise your hand." And somebody on my left raises their hand. So I go over there and I do the prize thing, and I come back. Well, it was 2 bingos, and the second bingo, guess who it was?
Huh.
It was Skip Card Guy. So he comes up to my booth and he goes, "How loud do I have to yell bingo?" I got bingo. And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I said raise your hand, and I didn't see your hand." So it happened to be 2 of you. So he got to pick a prize out of the bag as well, and I just didn't do it on the mic. But it was like, come on, man. Like, what are the odds that this? So the third time, now the next round comes up, I went through his room and I walked up to his table and I went, "And nobody at this table, okay?" And he laughed and I handed him a card. So we're okay. We're good.
We're good.
But
And that's the way to handle it, with a little sense of humor and be able to kind of make fun of yourself, because like I told you, if you're not having fun, they're not having fun. And that's basically the best way. If I was going to teach people how to do music bingo, that's probably the best piece of advice I can give you. If you're not having fun, they're not having fun. And and it's hard.
Yeah.
It really is hard. You got to find your voice. You got to kind of find your personality. You've got to be warm and welcoming. And it's hard to believe, but you're doing customer service, and it's so important to make sure everyone feels welcomed and make them have fun. And if they do, they come back. I mean, clearly,
yeah,
we've done that.
But keeping that relationship up that's the important part. And honestly, everybody there was really nice to me. I mean, honestly, I think they knew you gave them a heads up that I'm a little new at this. Everybody was really kind during this whole thing. And unfortunately, I think I actually found my voice by Friday. So the next time I cover for you, I think I have a little under my belt now, but I think on the earlier part of the week, it was kind of like, I'm just sort of saying what I need to say. I'm not joking around with people. It's hard for me in front of a large crowd trying to play to a whole crowd at once, as opposed to if I go up to somebody's table, I can joke with you and me. I'll kind of tailor what I'm saying to you, but I don't tailor to a room. So by Friday, it's a different venue on Friday.
Yeah.
We ended up, with a slightly smaller crowd, and I had some experience. So I'm joking around with everybody and I'm saying things into the mic. And I really feel like that was the best presentation I had. Unfortunately, there is no Saturday, so we're done now. I was ready to go home. But
Saturday, he was going to kill it if he had to do Saturday, but he didn't. So
I also, and Harrington is a really cool little town. And I felt like I got the opportunity to make friends with people and kind of get to know everybody. And now I kind of feel comfortable around there. So, the next time I come through, it's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have fun, and I just really appreciate everybody who's watching that was there for, just being kind to me and tolerating the watching me get on my feet a little bit.
Speaking of which, it's so funny. Ted would check in with me throughout the week. And the one thing Ted would tell me is that after music bingo, and this is something I don't normally do because I have to go home. I'm a single dad, so I have to get home to my son and to Sherry and stuff. So I don't stay out late because I have somewhere to be. Ted had the flexibility to go out and hang out with people afterwards. And so you went out to a couple nights and hung out with some of the regulars from our bingo night. And I was catching some stories from these outings with you. And what's so funny is that I was having a conversation with somebody and they were like, that guy just doesn't know a stranger. I said, no. I said, Ted can literally walk in the most dangerous bar in America and walk out with 10 to 15 new Facebook friends. And I said, it doesn't make any sense. I said, this guy doesn't know a stranger. He doesn't have an enemy. And what was really funny is when I said this to this person, they said, oh, so he's an extrovert. And I said, well, he's extra. And they thought that was the funniest thing.
Definitely extra.
He's definitely
extra something.
He's something.
It might be extra stupid. I don't know. Like usually, I can walk into the most dangerous bar in the world and just make friends. Yeah, maybe a regular person would think twice about that, but nah, he's just too dumb.
No, you're like Mr. Bean. You could just walk in like, hey guys, and everyone's like, at first someone gives you that look like, this son of a bitch. But then they're like, Dad!
That literally happened, actually. Somebody I had met with you once. So there's Derby's, and then after Derby's closes around like 10.
Right.
And there's a bar close by that's local, and I had heard about it, and I'm like, well, look, I'm in a new town, and this is my favorite thing to do, is go figure out where the local spot is. I love a hole in the wall that's clean. You know what I mean? It's a smaller bar. Maybe only the locals know about it. You wouldn't see it on TripAdvisor, but they got good food, they got good drinks, and it's local people, and that's what I like. I like people watching and all that. So I go check out this place. I've been there maybe a total of 3 times. On Friday, I walk in there. Doesn't somebody know my name and shout it across the bar? And I'm like, how is that? Like, I'm even surprised by this. Like, well, how do I know anybody in this town?
In
right
Harrington,
now?
Delaware, of all damn places.
So, but that was kind of fun.
No, I got a feeling as we continue doing this podcast, that's going to happen a lot. People are going to be like, hey, that's the guy from the podcast. That's the N Ted.
Yeah. I'm the second half of the name, and Ted.
So I love it. You know, it's so damn funny. Like I had somebody send me a picture. My soon-to-be sister-in-law sends me a picture of you and her together. I'm like, freaking Ted.
Freaking Ted. No, there was another one earlier in the week. I saw a guy. I'm looking at his build, and I think, forgive me if I get the name wrong. I think he said Smiley. But I'm looking at his build. He's got a ponytail, he's got shaved sides, and he's got, like, he lifts. He's a built dude, but he's not super cut. Like he's got a little bit of, like, you know, oomph on him. And I'm like, he looks like a wrestler. So, and I'm not big into wrestling. Anybody who knows me, I'm not big into wrestling. I don't know a lot, but I'm like, I know that build. So I'm like, he's walking out. Like, I haven't said 2 words to this dude all night. And I said, hey man, those were the first 2 words. And he turns around and I said, are you now, or have you ever considered becoming a pro wrestler? And he said, that's funny that you mentioned that. I'm actually in training to join a local promotion, or I'm in training with that local promotion right now. I said, hey man, can I take a picture with you so that when you become famous, I can be like, I saw this guy in a bar one time. So I got a picture with him too. And I didn't run into him again, but like, that's the kind of, like, especially when I've been, you know, if I've had a beer or 2, I'll be like, I'll say 2 words to somebody who looks imposing and I've never seen before. What's the worst that could happen? They smash my face in. Great.
And that's when Ted took a chair shot to the face.
That's right. I learned how to take a bump. I do know a couple wrestling terms. Don't mess.
It sounds like you did pretty good last week. You didn't burn any places to the ground. Didn't get in any major. You didn't get yourself into any major jams. You made some friends, as always. So sounds like you were pretty successful last week.
Yeah, I'm excited to come back. I think everybody's real cool around there, so I'm happy to be there.
No, it was a very successful week for you. It was a very successful week for me. Sherry said yes. We're now officially engaged. We have now briefly talked about a few things. You know how it is when you first get engaged and everything. You start, you start talking about possible wedding dates. You start talking about possible who's going to be on the guest list, who's going to be in the wedding. So like we're only like now, I guess, a week removed from it happening, and we're still like in the early stages of planting seeds about what's next. But yeah, boy, when you really sit down and think about planning a wedding, there is so much that goes into it. And we've got a date in mind, and we're like, well, that's because it's going to be next summer. It's already less than 365 days away, so it's like, oh man,
yeah,
we've got to jump on. We got to make every weekend between now and then count, because before you know it, we'll be within 30 days of the wedding. And, like fall and winter and spring will go right by. And here we are again. It's spring 2026 or summer 2026, and it's go time. So, we got a lot of stuff to do. Do you remember that whole planning stage when you and Steph were doing your wedding?
I do. And I can give the best piece of advice I ever received is that the biggest hurdle you get in, inviting everybody and getting the whole event planned, once you've pinned down the dress, once you pin down the venue, who you want the DJ to be, all that stuff, that's all taken care of. But you still got to come up with the seating chart. And now we're in a digital age here, right? But erasing and writing names and going, oh wait, but then like I got one guy from work and he's not going to know the 8 other people at his table. I got to put him over here. You end up with a table of just like,
randos,
strangers. Yeah, the rando table, and they all know it. The best advice I ever.
How bad's that got to feel when you're sitting there like, oh shit, I'm at the rando table.
So how do you know DB? I was his tax accountant's neighbor for 6 months. Oh, I'm at that table.
Shit.
Is that even DB nice? I think he might have got a stand-in for this. Where's he at?
Am I at the right wedding? Who are the Horowitz? So yeah, there's a lot of work that's got to be done, and I every weekend's gonna have to. I mean, you think about it. There's not that many weeks between now and then, and when you break that down, you're like, well, shoot, we'll be down to like, we only got 28 weeks left. We only got 10 weeks left. I mean, don't panic. It'll be okay.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I mean, if I could do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, so the one thing I could check off that list of things to do before the wedding, I got to meet my in-laws, my future in-laws.
Okay.
It worked out beautifully where one of our stops for the cruise was Orlando, and they live in Orlando. So we met them at this place called Grills, which was literally, we got out the boat and this little bar is right there off the terminal where we come out at. So it was perfect. They met us there. We went and had drinks and stuff. And what was really cool was my parents were on the boat. So her parents and my parents got to meet for the first time in Orlando. And, we got to share with them the news about the engagement, blah, blah, blah. And it was just really nice. So the parents got to meet in Orlando, which was kind of fun.
So I want to ask you one thing. Did you wear the shirts to that? This is how you let them know, is that she was wearing the ring and you were wearing the shirts when you guys met up?
No, actually I dressed up. I felt like we had to dress up, but it's funny you mentioned the shirts. Nice. We got to talk about the shirts. And this was another thing Ted helped me pull off. This is why Ted had to know about what was going on with the engagement other than anyone else, because I know my man Ted would help me make things happen. So on top of the ring, I wanted to do something cute for photos, and that was I wanted to get Sherry and I a little t-shirt that said, hers says girlfriend, it's scratched out and says underneath it fiance. Mine said boyfriend, scratched out, and then it said fiance. Hers is pink, mine's blue. I was going to order these shirts on Amazon, but if you've ever ordered anything from Amazon, as soon as you order stuff on Amazon, and if you have a device that is an Amazon device, they will put on the screen. If you have one with a screen, it will show you what orders you have coming up soon, like when they'll arrive. So sure enough, after I just ordered this, I looked at my device and I saw the t-shirts come up, and I thought, oh crap, Sherry's going to be over later. She's going to see that and know something's up. So I real quick canceled the order. The image went away. And I was on the phone talking to Ted, and I said, Ted, I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to give you money. Could you buy these shirts and have them sent to my house? He's like, yeah, sure. So we do that. But what's really funny is they were supposed to come on Monday, and on Mondays, typically, Sherry's not here because she's at work and stuff. So if it showed up on Monday, I would have been here to get the package and put it in my suitcase, because this is now the Monday before we take off. So I was expecting the package to come on Monday, and I was going to stick it in my suitcase with all my clothes, and she would never see it. Except there was a problem.
And I double checked this, and I'm like, yeah, it's not going to get there until we're safe. And of course, Amazon has to be super efficient.
Right. Thank you, Amazon. So he messages me on Saturday when she's with me and says, hey, no, you called me. Remember you
I texted you. You were in the middle of bingo.
Oh, that's right.
At a different spot. And I sent you 2 emojis of pink and blue shirts and said, hey, I was thinking about ordering a shirt. Do you want to tell me what your shirt size is? And then sent those 2 emojis.
Right. And then later on, when I was on a video chat with you and you knew she was close by, you're like, hey, I ordered something for Stephanie. I had it mailed to your house. Don't open it. I'll get it when I get there. Right. So.
And I'm winking like I have some sort of, like a splinter in my eye. I'm like, dude, don't open it.
Yeah, just to give me heads up, don't open it in front of Sherry. It was the T-shirts. But at first I was like, I wasn't catching you at first. I was like, why are you mailing something to my house? And then me, it was the slow burn. And I was kind of like that sloth from Zootopia, where I was starting to get the joke, and I was just, yeah. Right. So I was like, oh, I get it now. So sure enough, when it got there, I opened it up. I went down to the mailbox by myself. I opened it up and I saw what it was, and I was like, okay, good. It's my shirts. So yeah. I just love, it was such a covert operation to make this proposal happen. And it turned out so good. So I'm so glad it worked out. So
I just remember I'm sitting there like on the video call with you, like blinking like I have a nervous twitch. Like, hey man, don't open the package. You all right? You got something in your eye? Nah, man, I'm good.
I'm having a stroke, but I'm good.
Just a stroke. It's fine.
It's just a stroke. Walk it off, Ted. Stop being a baby, man. Just walk it off. So, hey, listen. We are so happy to see the show's growing. We've had a couple people who have become big fans of the show. We've had people ask, and the reason why we're doing this long form now is because we've had a lot of people ask us, hey, the clips we were watching feels like it's part of a bigger show. Is there going to be a bigger show? So we started doing the show in this format because we've had people ask if the show was going to be longer than just a few minutes. So that's why we decided to do the show in long form. Also, we got to give a shout out to a couple people. First of all, we're looking for folks to be Patreon supporters of the show to help us continue bringing the show. There's all kinds of little costs to go into doing this, subscriptions and services and gear and equipment and stuff like that. So we asked that, hey, if you can be a Patreon supporter, that helps us out with these little expenses that come up every month. And what we'll do is we're going to release these shows on Friday. But for those who are Patreon supporters, you get the show a day earlier. So you get to see this before everyone else. This will come out on Thursday for you. Right now, we've got our guy, Dave, who's like our avid supporter. He's bought the T-shirts. He listens to every show we do, watches every show we do, leaves comments every time we do a show. Big shout out to Dave. He's our guy. He's also a Patreon supporter, so thank you, Dave. We hope that more people will be like Dave and support the show. It's only $9 a month, $10 a month, I guess. $9.99, $10. We'll say $10. $10 a month, and that helps us out with stuff. So thanks to Dave for doing that. We appreciate that.
And I got to meet Dave in person when I was covering this week, and he was very kind to me. He was wearing the shirt. Shout out to Dave. Love it. And he said hi every night, so really appreciate you, man.
Also, we got to give a shout out to our friend overseas, Toby, who watches every week from over in England. And he's another one, loves to respond to everything we do. And Ted and I actually joked about this. We were like, hey, we should think about doing an annual award show for the show. And we were like, well, there's Emmys, there's Oscars, there's Tonys. And since Toby is one of our avid he just watches every week. We should just make him. We should make the awards. We should name the awards after Toby.
The Tobys.
I just think it sounds good, right? There's Oscars, there's Tonys, there's Emmys. The Tobys sound great.
It rolls right off the tongue, man.
And we can come up with all kinds of different categories, like best new character, best new fan, best fan of the year, viewer of the year, comment of the year. I mean, I just feel like we can come up with all these different things for the Tobys.
I love it. We should do that.
Yeah. So maybe what we'll do is we'll make that an annual thing. We got to figure out, when did we start doing the first show? We'll have to look it up and find out. And we'll have to make that the date for the annual Tobys.
That makes sense. I love it.
So we'll work on that.
Get on that.
If you got a good idea for a category for the Tobys, tell us in the comment section below, especially you, Toby, since we named the awards after you. You better come up with at least 2 or 3 good categories for the Tobys. All right, well, listen, like we mentioned, we are looking for Patreon supporters. If you love the show, we hope you do, and you want to be a supporter of the show, you can go to our website, dbandted.com. You can become a Patreon supporter. You can also rock the gear, baby, like this amazing pint glass. Yeah, look at that, baby. It makes all your drinks taste better. You can get one of these at dbandted.com. We've got coffee mugs, we got t-shirts, we've got other fun stuff, and all the money that anything you buy from there, again, helps us out with the show. So if you want to support the show, buy some stuff. Buy a glass, buy a mug, buy a shirt.
dbandted.com.
dbandted.com. All right, Ted, I think that's it for this week.
I think we're good.
All right, till then, thanks for watching. We'll be back next Friday with another show. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time here on DB and Ted.